Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. We're here in Go Forest and continue discussing the Chanqi teachings from Master YongHua. Just as a reminder, the last previous two discussions, Chanqi discussions, last Thursday and last night, were from Master YongHua's section about the six patriarchs teaching. Six patriarch is one of the most revered teacher in Chinese Buddhism. And the Master YongHua quoted the sixth patriarch by saying that the Buddha Dharma is not apart from the world, and enlightenment is not apart from the world either. Okay, so that's the context. And let's go through. Well, let me explain to you what Master YongHua's teaching was, and then we can discuss a little bit more. Okay. So Master YongHua says, according to Master Huineng, the sixth patriarch, he says to not leave the world, the awakening, based on Master YongHua's explanation here. So he says, the sixth patriarch says, you cannot be apart from worldly awakening, worldly enlightenment. And world enlightenment, according to Master YongHua, is the wisdom of the world. And he's going to explain next what, to him, wisdom of the world means. He says in slide 11 that then his interpretation of six patriarchs' teaching is that you cannot transcend the world without having the worldly wisdom. All right? And he says, so if you look for enlightenment, Bodhi enlightenment apart from the world, okay, and you leave this world to search for Bodhi, okay, and that would be equivalent to looking for a hare with horns. And so that is impossible to do. So you leave this world at all to look for enlightenment, that is not possible. That's the wisdom of the sixth patriarch. Okay? And Master YongHua also elaborates further. He says, so what is this worldly Shu Jian Jue? This is what this worldly enlightenment is like. So he says, worldly, you awaken to these worldly dharmas that ordinary people are victims to. Ordinary people are full of greed. Their minds are full of greed, anger, stupidity, arrogance, and doubt. So this is what is called in Buddhism. Anyone knows? You memorize this, all of you, especially Sanghans. You should memorize these. These are called five Wu Dun Shi, the five dull servants. Okay? And so the five dull servants are the five kinds of thought delusions. Okay? Memorize this. It's nothing to discuss. You just have to know this. This is part of your literary wisdom. And so, because of these thought delusions, things that pop up in your mind, they're called the dull servants. Memorize it. Greed, anger, stupidity, arrogance, and doubt. Is that clear? Okay? And And this is, if you have this, then you are, according to Master Shenhua, ordinary people. And that's why if you want to help people develop the wisdom, you need to explain to people that they need to shed the greed, anger, stupidity, arrogance, and doubt. And so that they know it's to their interest to cut off the minds of such thoughts. All right? Anyone has any questions so far? This is very important. So cut off the mind from anger, cut off the mind from greed, cut off your mind from stupidity. Your mind should not be arrogance. Thoughts of arrogance pop up, you have to stop. And thoughts of doubts, you have to stop them. Any questions so far? You should have a question, at least one or two. Maybe at least one. No one? Yes, 7.
Answer the fact today. Which one should we do first?
Okay, should we do first? We Scooby-Doo, anything you like. Yes, JC?
Sir, I have a question about the last one, mind of doubt. So what does it mean when you say mind of doubt toward like yourself, Kuno advisor, or Buddhism, or like it doesn't have a specific toward what kind of things?
We just bought a car, and we went to a car dealer. And the car dealer, the salesman told her a lot of things. Okay, so most of the sayings were so we have doubt. Yeah, you didn't? I'm talking to you. Do you believe everything your salesman told you? No. You better not. How did we pay for the car again? Okay. That is doubt, isn't it? Is that doubt okay? He's talking about worldly dharmas. Is that okay, that doubt? Or is it not desirable? What happened to Liam? She's not here? Do you believe everything your wife tells you? Huh? Do you? No, you don't. So he doubts his wife. Is it okay? Yes, way back. No, it's okay. Control yourself. Yes, Way Mountain.
Master, in this instance, you should have no doubt that you're not going to believe that car salesman. Wisdom should tell you, no matter what he's saying, he's just blowing smoke.
You are tough, G.I. Joe. Okay, let me ask DTT. Jumi, what kind of doubt do you have? See, your answer is so short. You know that. That's not good.
We cannot hear DTT.
들리세요, 세라님? 아, 네. 저는 의심 자체가 합리적이라고 생각을 합니다. 그러니까 의심을 하는 것 자체, 의심을 가진다는 것 자체가 저는 합리적인 일이라고 생각을 하고요.
Having doubt itself, I believe that it's justifying.
왜냐하면 의심 자체가 나쁜 건 아닌 게 예를 들면 선지식을 만났을 때 의심을 가진다는 거는 복이 떨어졌다는 증거지만
Having a doubt itself, I don't think it's bad. But for example, you meet a good knowing advisor and then you doubt him, that means your blessing ran out.
그런데 만약에 내가 선지식이라고 믿었던 그 사람이 정말 선지식이 아닌 경우에는 의심을 갖고 있었을 때 선지식이 아니다라는 것을 발견할 수 있기 때문에 의심 자체가 나쁜 것은 아니라고 생각합니다.
But on the other hand, let's say someone that I believe he is a good knowing advisor, but later on found out he's not. Because I had a doubt, I was able to recognize that person is not good knowing advisor. So in that sense, doubt is not a bad thing.
저 같은 경우는 사실은 마스터를 만나기 전에 저도 좀 마스터랑 비슷한 면이 3년 투자를 해서 성과가 안 나오면 바로 그만두는 편이거든요. 그렇기 때문에 의심 자체가 나쁘진 않다고 생각합니다.
So before I met Master, I have a similar belief. I try for 3 years, I invest for 3 years. If I don't get anything back, then I just leave. So in this case, the doubt is not such a bad thing.
And how long have you been at JMT?
제가 2020년 8월 6일 날 처음 보산사를 방문했더라고요.
I visited JMT August 6, 2020.
August 6, 2023. Do you know why your car broke down when you drove from your house to JMT? It's because your doubt.
마스터 제가 한 가지 그냥 얘기가 나온 김에 정정하고 싶은 거는 보산사 새벽녘을 가는 길에 차가 멈췄던 차는 BMW가 아니라 그 전에 탔던 한국차 자동차입니다.
Master, I'd like to make a correction. The car that broke down on the way to JMT in the morning, that's not BMW. That was a Korean car.
Okay. Sorry about that. Which makeup Korean car now? Is it Kia or Hyundai?
현대 자동차였습니다.
Okay. 현대입니다. Okay. Enough joking around. Doubt here refers to doubting the proper Dharma. It's a very severe form of delusion. You can doubt a lot of things. You can doubt your parents. You can doubt your professors, but you cannot doubt the Buddha Dharma. Okay, because what the Buddha taught should not be doubted. It taught to reveal our confusion. So when you doubt it, you don't have a chance to work on your confusion, to get rid of your confusion. Is that clear? So this doubt here refers to the proper Dharma. You can doubt, the improper Dharma, but you should not doubt the Mahayana. You can doubt, for example, Hinayana. Hinayana has certain areas where it's justified to be doubtful. But Mahayana, you have doubt about Mahayana, and that's not good for you. All right? So that's why it's called thought delusions. These thoughts arise in your mind, part of those thoughts are doubts about Mahayana. And you take a step further, you have doubts about the sages' teachings. Because the Buddha came to our world to teach the great truth, the total truth. And then he later sent his disciples, the Bodhisattvas, to come to help us understand in greater depth his teachings. And therefore, Therefore, you should be careful not to doubt the Bodhisattva's instructions, such as the ones you find in the Tripitaka, the Shastra's teachings. You should not have any doubt. The Shastras are not Buddha's teachings. Shastras are Bodhisattva's teachings. So you should not doubt the Tripitaka teachings in general. Okay? That's absolute. You don't want to have any doubt. Okay? Until you become enlightened, you should not doubt the triple jewel. The Tripitaka. It's okay to doubt the monks because we are not enlightened. When you're not enlightened, it's perfectly okay to have doubts about us. But you should not doubt the sagely teachings. That's the absolute truth. You may not be able to understand it, okay? But when it comes down to the bottom line, you don't want to have any doubt about the Buddha's teachings. As close to the Buddha, such as people like the sixth patriarch, Master YongHua, is as close as possible to the Buddha's teachings, and therefore you should not have any doubts. You have it, it's called thought delusions. Again, remember these 5 things. These are the 5 types of thoughts that arise in your mind. That's why they're called dull servants. They come to your mind a little bit slower, like we meet with someone and you talk for about 5-10 minutes, or you read something and it takes about a little while before these types of thoughts arise. You meet someone and you spend some time with them, and eventually the thoughts of arrogance would pop up. You know, like, he's so short, that kind of thing. You know? And so the dull servants, because these are thoughts of confusion, you have to be careful about. You have such thoughts, then your mind is not clear. Your mind lacks wisdom because of those thoughts. Is that clear? Okay? Memorize it. The 5 kinds of thought delusions. What are they? Greed, very easy. Greed, anger, stupidity, the 3 poisons, right? Add to that arrogance, because the thought of arrogance pop up in our mind very quickly. You meet with someone, say, oh, you're not as educated as I am, you're not as rich as I am, you're not as smart as I am, you're not as handsome as I am, and so forth. These thoughts arise, okay? That thoughts of arrogance arise. I'm better than you, okay? That's a thought delusion. Your head lacks wisdom. You detect those thoughts. I'm not talking about others people, how they feel about you. That's not relevant. We only mind about our business. If your head has thoughts of greed, anger, stupidity, it's a thought delusion. You're deluded. If you have thoughts of arrogance, you're better than someone else, okay? It's a thought of delusion. Finally, if you doubt the Buddha's teachings, the proper Dharma, you're in big trouble. You're deluded. You may not agree, you may not understand, it doesn't matter. It's something important that you do not harbor doubts. So what do you do when you don't understand? He says, I don't understand. Let me shelve it for now. Put it in a closet for now. I'll check on it later. Okay? But don't doubt. Is that clear? Just because you don't understand doesn't justify you having doubts about the proper Dharma. There's lots of things in life, in this world, especially in Buddha Dharma teachings, that you don't understand, that I don't understand, that we don't understand. That's normal. Our wisdom is not adequate enough to understand everything. Okay? Have no doubts. Is that clear? Memorize this. This is what prevents you from opening your wisdom. In other words, if you have such thoughts, okay, then your head is harboring delusion. Isn't it helpful? Does it help? You have to check yourself. Okay? That's all. You don't worry about anything else. You check yourself. So, oh, okay, I'm greedy for this. I'm greedy for that. Then you are being deluded right now, right then. Wei Mountain.
Master, is there any distinction between faith and doubt?
Faith, I'd like to think of faith is, to me personally, for ordinary people, especially Catholics, they have faith in God or the God's teachings, whatever. Okay, to me, faith refers to having faith in a person. Okay, I don't equate faith with a book or something insentient. To me, faith is you believe in a being. Whether it's God, whether it's a person, whether it's your dog, okay? That's faith. Okay? Whereas doubt is something else. Doubt is, there's some relationship, but it's not always a one-to-one relationship between doubt and faith. Okay? Let's leave it at that. I don't want to go too deep into this, then it would take us forever again. Yes, JC.
저 5가지 번뇌가 일어났을 때, 마스터가 번뇌가 일어났을 때 그 번뇌를 보는 것, 그다음에 내려놓는 것, 그다음에 잘라내는 것 3가지를 알려주셨는데 이 3가지가 어떻게 다른지 궁금합니다.
So, Master, you talked about these 5 thoughts, and you also talked about
servants.
recognizing and also letting go of those thoughts and also casting out. So would you explain to me more about the difference between
Difference of
this
what?
thing, between recognizing, let casting those thoughts, and also let those thoughts down?
What's the difference? I just told you. If
맞습니다.
thoughts of greed, anger, stupidity, arrogance, and doubt arise in your mind, beware that your head is in a state of confusion. That's all you have to remember. Okay, therefore, let's say thoughts of thinking that you're better than someone, that's a thought of arrogance, that means you are deluded. Therefore, stop it. Whatever makes you feel that you're better than someone because you have more money, whether you're smarter, you have better education, and so forth, such thought may be justifiable to you, but according to Buddhism, those are thoughts of delusions. You might say, well, it's true, isn't it? I'm a lot richer. I'm a lot smarter than that person. Therefore, yes, I am better. It is so true to me. Yes? Even so, it may be justifiable to you. It's still considered delusion as far as wisdom goes. Your mind lacks wisdom. That's all you have to remember. Therefore, you should not, if you're aware of it, then you should not be so proud of it. Because look at the alternative. When thoughts of arrogance arise in your mind, I make more money than this person. Okay? And it's true. Well, and this, if you think, you agree with yourself, you feel justified, and what happens is your arrogance is reinforced. And then it's not you just not looking at me and say, I'm better than you. You also look at the other person and say, I'm smarter than you. Okay? So the arrogance grows. And that's what people fail to understand, fail to realize. That thought of arrogance, no matter how well justified it is to you, it grows and grows. It snowballs. Okay? And therefore, you only become more deluded if you feel justified. So what we're teaching you is a tip for you, personal tip for you. Never mind about what other people think of you. Just look at yourself and say, if I feel so justified in harboring these thoughts of arrogance, then I am merely increasing my delusion and digging myself deeper into that pit of delusions, okay? Called arrogance. Okay? That's all you have to remember. Therefore, don't go there. If that's what you believe, don't have any doubt. Then stop it. Don't add more fuel to it. That's a problem. When people feel justified because I am smarter, let's face it, I am much better educated than you. Yes? That is a fact. It's substantiated to the worldly people. But in the world of the Mahayana and the Buddha Dharma, it is called delusion. That's all you have to remember. And this is look at the flip side. This is how people or ordinary people behave. And they don't realize that every single thought of arrogance, which I'm guilty of, not you? Okay, never mind. Okay? I never realized actually I'm digging myself a bigger hole. It snowballs. My arrogance only grows bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm only hurting myself. That's the bottom line. You're not impressed. You're just like a drug addict who has his fix, and you like it so much. It's okay. Let's get some more, and I have some more. I have some more, and eventually you die because of it. Okay? Yes, you're right. You are feeling good. You're feeling better and better and better, but eventually, will come a point in time where you die because you lack wisdom. Am I answering the question from JC? You should know. That's all you have to do. This teaching is to recognize these 5 kinds of thoughts. They are not good for you. They make you more confused. That's all they do. Therefore, if you have thoughts of arrogance, cut it out. Stop right away. Of course, thoughts of arrogance will arise.
알겠습니다. 그럼 번뇌가 일어났을 때 바로 잘라버리면 되는 건가요?
Then, Master, when the affliction arises, should I just cut it off?
You may not be able to cut it off, but you have to stop it. Don't add to the fire of affliction. Okay? For example, let's be real. God, this is so fundamental to life. And people don't realize they're only confusing themselves. Okay? You're from Korea. You like kimchi, don't you? Okay, so you like kimchi. Don't answer that. Kimchi. And you eat kimchi and you say, oh, this is good kimchi. My God, this is so nice. This is a better kimchi I've had for a month. And you eat more. Yes? You eat more. That's natural, isn't it? No? Koreans don't do that? Okay, never mind kimchi. How about bulgogi. You cannot resist that. Huh? Or kalbi. Or soju. Okay? You enjoy yourself. And naturally say, okay, let's have more and more and more. Okay? What I'm advocating, what I'm teaching you is that the thought of greed is natural. Yes, we enjoy it. We enjoy, wow, this is so good. Don't tell me you don't enjoy it. You don't? I do. This is why I don't dare drink it, because I do. I know I can't stop. Is that clear? So I'm different from you because when you drink this thing here, I can only teach you when you enjoy this Tsingtao beer. Do you drink beer? Tsingtao? Very popular in the United States, mama. Yeah. Okay? So you drink this beer. You like it. That's natural. You cannot deny it. To deny is stupidity. Okay? Stop it. Don't stop denying. That's part of stupidity. Remember? Okay? When you say, oh, this is nice. And you say, wait, that's a stop stupidity. Okay? Okay? When you enjoy it, it's natural. So what we're teaching you is that don't deny that you're enjoying it. All we are telling you is that don't indulge in it. Because the difference between us and others is that they feel justified in indulging. We said, okay, I really like this, okay? And since I don't get my friend to pay for this that often, let's have one more. And since I'm not driving tonight, maybe one more. And then you stop. Is that clear? So you limit your delusions. You put a cap on your delusions. Versus ordinary people who do not know better, they say, oh, it's okay, I'm with friends, and what's the harm in it, you know? I'm with my father, my mother, and so forth. Okay? That's stupidity. You don't want to be that. That's called moderation. Okay? You know that's not desirable, moderate yourself. Maybe 3 more tonight, next time 2 more, maybe 1 more, and so forth. Is that clear? You are ordinary people. You're not like us. So therefore, it's perfectly okay to have the thoughts of pleasure, but moderate yourself. To stop, that's how you learn to stop your thought delusions. Do not pretend, do not deny that you're not enjoying it, because that's stupid. We are who we are, okay? Yes, YouTube.
Thank you, Master. Daniel Wisniewski has a comment. He says, being deluded by these 5 is so energy draining also. And when I'm tired, it feels like these come up easier.
Yes. But when you're tired, they come up easier. Then, because you're tired, you are less likely to do anything about them. That's perfectly okay. Remember, the thoughts of these 5 thoughts arise naturally. Okay? They will arise to all of us. But you stop. Is that clear? If you want to develop your wisdom, you have to stop. The sooner, the better. Okay? Think about it. Try it and you see for yourself. Yes, DTT.
들리세요? 네, 그냥 정리한 거 읽을게요, 세라님. DTT에 오고 나서 저에게 일어났던 번뇌들을 정리해 보니까 현재 위치성에서 저는 3대 핵심 번뇌를 가지고 있더라고요.
So, Master, after I arrived to DTT, I thought about my delusions, and I realized there are three main afflictions in me.
근데 이제 그저께 우연찮게 마스터께서 화엄경 법문에서 번뇌를 내려놓는 그 말씀을 듣고 제가 이틀 동안 이제 시도를 했었거든요.
So, during that Avatamsaka Sutra lecture, you told me about casting away delusions. So, I tried for a few days.
그런데 이제 첫 번째, 두 번째는 내려놓기가 가능한데 이제 세 번째 저의 핵심 번뇌가 정리정돈과 위생 상태에 대한 번뇌가 있는데 이게 내려놓기가 좀 힘들었어요. 세라 한번 끊을게요.
So, out of those three main afflictions, first and second, it's okay, but the third one have a problem. It's about organizing and also maintaining cleanness.
이제 그게 그 세 번째 위생을 내려놓기가 힘든 게 단지 이제 물론 성격적으로 결벽증이 있는 것도 인정은 되는데 위생 상태가 좋지 않았을 때 제가 피부 발진이 생겨서 이렇게 가렵고 두드러기가 나다 보니까 이게 단순히 그냥 마음의 번뇌로만 그치지 않고 신체적인 고통을 수반하다 보니까 번뇌가 빨리 내려지지가 않았거든요. 그래서 제 질문은 이렇게 신체 반응까지 이렇게 이어진 경우에 이런 경우는 어떻게 번뇌가 빨리 내려지지 않는데 이럴 때는 어떻게 해야 되는지 그것을 질문드립니다.
So third one, I think I have part of mysophobia. Everything has to be really clean. And the problem is when I have this affliction, what I experience is bodily itchiness and rash. So it's really difficult for me to let go of this third affliction because it affects my body.
마지막으로 이제
So how
이게
can I get rid of this third affliction? Thank you.
그다음에 마지막으로 세라님 이게 혹시 이게 피부가 정말 실질적으로 두드러기가 생기고 그런데 이게 혹시 뷰 오브 바디랑도 연관이 있는 건지 그걸 마지막으로 질문드리고 싶습니다. 뷰 오브 바디라고 이게 이게 손이 네, yes, 네, 맞아요.
So about the rash, is that related to a view of body? That's what she asked.
It relates to a lot of issues you have. Don't blame it on your body. Okay? Don't worry about it. This third affliction you have doesn't have to be addressed for a while yet. Okay, you're right. You started by saying, I have so many afflictions. So which ones? Memorize these. Never mind about OCD. Just memorize about the 5 thought delusions: greed, anger, stupidity, arrogance, and doubt. That's good enough for now. Let's not worry about OCD yet. Okay? You have to live with your rash for a while. You won't die. How's that? Yes, Way Mountain.
Master, while we're on the subject of the hit parade of afflictions, it seems to me of the 5 pop illusions, doubt would run very close first, but right under doubt would be stubbornness. It seems to me stubbornness will get you into a lot more trouble than doubt. I could be wrong, but it seems very afflictive.
Okay, my friend, stubbornness is not doubt. Stubbornness is stupidity. Okay?
Thank you.
You're stubborn because you have no faith. All right? Anyone else? Yes, 5.
Thank you, Master. How to recognize stupidity when I'm too stupid, and how to cut it off.
Stupidity is what you recognize. Stupidity is the lack of connections. You don't realize, you are not willing to see the causal elements. Okay? For example, you do something, you know it's harmful to you. You still keep on doing it. That's stupid. Okay? You keep on doing it because you deny cause and effect. Okay? For example, this is typical stupidity of people. People in the world, for example, they steal. And they think it's a gain. They say, okay, I'm gaining. I'm stealing from others. I stole a pen. I stole some money. I stole from my customers. Okay, I've been doing it very successfully. So what's the big deal? Others stole a lot more than I do. They're a lot more successful. They're bigger. They're politicians. Everyone steals. So what's a big deal? Okay? Stupidity is to deny cause and effect. You know it's so wrong in your heart. You know it's so wrong to steal. And yet you say, it's okay. You know it's wrong to kill. Yeah? And then you say, but for me it's okay to kill a lower, an animal because it's a lower chain in life. Therefore it's okay for me to inflict pain and suffering upon them. Okay? That is the kind of stupidity that you have to be aware of. That you know you're doing something so wrong. Your heart knows. It bothers you. Maybe not immediately, but after it bothers you. Especially at the end of the day, you wash your hands before you go to bed, don't you? I don't, but you wash your hands, you look at yourself in the mirror, like in that movie, Bullet. What is it with you? You don't watch movies? You are the most boring people on earth. Go and rent a movie called Bullet, Steve McQueen. In my ear, Steve McQueen is like Macho Man. Now it's Macho Man, it's called Macho Nacho, but back then it's Steve McQueen, okay? And he goes around, he's a scorpion, and goes around and kills bad people without flinching an eye. It's ping! And we also, oh wow, he's so cool. Guilty. And so he killed, bad guy after bad guy after bad guy. And you feel good, you feel so, the violence is so fascinating. And you feel so justified in killing bad people. They're bad people. So he killed everyone. Okay? All the bad people he ran across. B-U-L-L-I-T-T. They have to spell it right. Okay? It's on YouTube for sure. I think it's even on Netflix or Max or something nowadays as well. Huh? Find it. Log on to Netflix. Okay, anyway. And by the way, Netflix, HBO, we are for sale. You want me to promote your movies? I can be bought. Okay, so this guy, I used to love his movie because the guy just kills, he doesn't say anything, comes over, and you feel so justified, simply because he's so bad. I mean, these people are so bad, okay? So for him to come over and just, kill them, well, they deserve it, don't they? Okay? So he kills all these bad people, okay? At the end of the day, his girlfriend, who's Jacqueline Bisset, it's before your time, you young people. She's a beautiful lady here. Drove around this is California, in a Beetle convertible. You have all these beautiful things. That's that is meant cool in San Francisco. You guys are the most boring people. Now you're into like internet thing, DM each other. No, back then we drive in an open convertible and the air blows our hair. And, it's so cool. You guys, now people don't even have hair anymore. It's so uncool. Anyway, so he kills everyone, and then his girlfriend is beautiful, beautiful. No, not this. She's too old now, but and so in the end, she saw how she walked into a scene where he killed someone. It's all bloody, and he said, "So this is what you do?" And he left him. Okay, that's a woman who has no thought delusions. Anyway, at the end of the movie, he came home to an empty apartment, okay? And he walked in there, took off his shirt and his jacket, and then, of course, he has a gun thing here, a holster here, took the holster, hang it on the thing, and go to the bathroom, and then washes his hand, okay? And then look at his mirror, and the movie ends. Meaning that at the end of the day, look at yourself. Do you see anything wrong? He sees nothing wrong. It's perfectly okay to kill bad men. And that's killing. Okay? Okay, look at it. That's a scene. I love that scene. Yeah, this one right there. It's so beautiful. Look at that. Look at his face. He said, "Hey man, that's what I do." Okay, and so that's precisely the point. At the end of the day, you have to face yourself and ask yourself, okay, was it okay? Was I okay? Okay, and it is so Mahayana. At the end of the day, you have to face yourself. Okay, it's not about whether people don't know or not, approve of you or not, how popular are you, or getting near Taylor Swift, popularity or not, whether you make enough money or not. At the end of the day, okay, how do you feel about yourself? Because rich people that I know, I used to work for, at the end of the day, you know what they do? They're so tired. They went home, pour a drink, a very fancy scotch or whiskey and whatever drink they have, maybe a glass of very fancy wine, pour it and drink it. Put it down, pour it and drink it. Many of my ex-bosses are drunkards. Don't like themselves. You should look at their eyes. Their looks, when they look at you, you are basically someone they use to make money. That's it. You cannot like yourself. Your wife cannot like you because you bring the same look when you go home to your children. That's my message. At the end of the day, you have to face yourself. When there's no more glamour, no one else is around, look at yourself in the mirror. Are you proud of yourself? Okay? That's thought delusion we're talking about. Yes, go on YouTube. Don't think you can finish this tonight.
이변 맹성희님의 질문입니다. 아미타불 마스터, 결과부자를 매일 2시간씩 꼭 안고 있는데 쉽지는 않습니다. 그래도 꾸준히 참고 하고 있는데 일주일 전부터 오른쪽 무릎이 너무 아파서 가부좌 하기 전과 하고 나서 풀 때도 통증이 심한데 마사지하면서 시험 과정이라 생각하고 의심하지 않고 계속하는데 잘하고 있는 걸까요?
Master, this question from Korean YouTube. Emitofuo Master. This question is from Ibyeon Meng Sung-hee. I have been sitting for 2 hours with a full lotus for daily practice, but it's not been easy. However, I try my best and endure and sit for 2 hours as much as I can. About a week ago, my right knee is so much in pain. Before I sit and after I sit, my knee is in serious pain. So I massage my knee and I thought this is just a test. And I didn't have any doubt, but should I continue to sit, Master? Thank you.
You should stop. You should let your knee heal. Don't sit on that side. Sit half lotus only. Let it heal completely. Then start over. Give your body a chance to heal. Make sure you walk every day. Okay? It's not a big deal. Let it heal. All right? Don't worry. But you need to listen to your body. Don't overdo it. You're sitting too much. Too much too soon is not a middle way. Yes, you too.
Thank you, Master. Daniel Wisniewski has an additional question. He asks, is being deluded like a poison?
It's not necessarily poison. It's not good for you. What's in the body? This body is no big deal. Okay? Thought delusions are what poisons your mind. So when you talk, you equate it to poisoning your body. It's not that relevant. Okay? All right. Anyone else? Yes, Wei Mountain.
Thank you, Master. Is being manic caused by any of these 5 delusions?
Yes, they will attack you, especially when you're manic. You basically are driven by arrogance. You think you're right and others are wrong. So that arrogance there, especially for you, it's more subtle than this arrogance here for ordinary people. Arrogance is justified because they feel that they're justified by in terms of money, in terms of profession, status, and so forth. Okay? For you, arrogance is that your arrogance is based on knowing that you are right. You know you're right. Therefore, you know better. That's more subtle for you. When it says, I'm better than you, in the form I'm right and you're wrong, okay, that's what your manic ghost rides on to confuse you. So many forms, okay? It doesn't matter. Whatever they do, if it comes down to these 5 things here, you are in a state of confusion. Doesn't matter how justified you feel about it, you still are confused. And especially if you indulge in it, and you are proud of it, know that it grows and grows and grows. Okay? That's a danger. It will snowball. Yes. 2.
So, Master, which one of the 5 is stress?
Stress has nothing to do with this. Okay.
I thought all the afflictions can be put into one of those categories.
Stress is you're an overload of data overload. Your own expectations are not able, you're not capable of meeting with the challenges.
But it's also an affliction.
Stress is okay. Stress is okay. But it has, stress is a natural part of life. We're overwhelmed. But if it comes across, only have to remember these 5 things here. The stress will manifest it fails in terms of greed, anger, stupidity. If suppose you're stressed out, okay? And you go home, you're so stressed out. What do? Grab for a drink. Okay? You have to stop at that. Don't worry about stress. Recognize these 5 things. That's all. To recognize your confusion. But stress is part of life. We're overwhelmed. We're all overwhelmed, not just you. Okay? Let's continue. Okay, 2.
Emitofuo Master. And why if you, for example, overeat because of stress?
It's greed.
Greed, okay.
The stress, you're stressed out and you feel bad. It's perfectly natural to feel bad. And you say you're low in sugar, so it's natural for you to grab something that has sugar. Okay? And the sugar comes in, you feel better, and then you don't know to stop yourself. Okay? All right. Yeah, very good question. You see, this is the problem with the Chinese. They stop at these 5 things. The five things of greed, anger, stupidity, arrogance, and doubt. Gazet. Okay? And and then they taught themselves, they're taught to cut off. You can't cut them off. That's nonsense. Excuse me. Okay? How can you cut it off? It arises. Your sense organ says, wow, this honey is so nice. Huh? This is the best honey I've ever had. That's natural. Okay? Don't tell me you have to cut off that. So it sounds like you cut off this thing here, so you can't live. This is why it's so confusing. Okay? It's natural to have thoughts of desire, natural to have thoughts of anger, natural to have thoughts of greed. It's natural. That's part of us. That's how we're wired. But if you indulge, this is where the Chinese teaching is confusing. They give them, their readers, their students, the illusion that they have wisdom. They say, oh, that's greed. No, it's not. Okay? So I can't enjoy the food my mom gives me. She spent hours cooking for me. I can't enjoy it. That's it? That's wisdom? That's stupidity to me. My mom will never want to cook for you again. And no one will want to marry you. Idiot. Huh? Okay? So, the Chinese teaching, and I struggled with this for a long, long time. I felt guilty because I had no one to ask like you tonight. Master, what about this? Master, what about stress? Master, what about craving for, what do you have now? Fries? I didn't have anyone to ask when I asked my thing. But that's greed, that's stupidity. You ask stupid questions, stop it. Come on. They cut off here. Okay? Chu ta, this cut off here can be misinterpreted. I'm teaching you, notice its subtlety. I'm teaching you to moderate and moderate. You moderate yourself the first time, second time, third time, and so forth. Eventually, cut it off right away. You cannot tell me you can cut it off just like that. You don't have that kind of wisdom. And so therefore, the Chinese teaching here has problems. For you, Vietnamese, Chinese, and especially scholars, they read this, of course, you're supposed to cut it off. But it's not how you cut it off. We have to tell you how to cut it off. You heard it, and you say, oh, of course, I understand Buddhism. You understand Buddhism, but you don't know how to live Buddhism. You're still behaving like bullied. You're killing people who feel justified. Okay? Okay, so just remember, moderate, okay? And that's enlightenment. You're able to moderate, okay? Naturally, you reach enlightenment. This enlightenment here, he says, this enlightenment, worldly enlightenment, and because I don't know why, so he says, this enlightenment here, you cannot run away from the world to seek enlightenment. Okay, this English translation could be misinterpreted. The Master YongHua says, this enlightenment here, the worldly enlightenment here, the worldly awakening here, you cannot run away from the world to get it. You have to stay in the world. Is that clear? Okay. Don't worry about the English thing. The English is a little bit vague. Okay. So it's in its world. Enlightenment and confusion. Enlightenment, opposite confusion. You turn around, you are enlightened. You turn around? And this is again another thing about Chinese and Vietnamese and Asian teachings. I'm from a Western educated perspective. You turn around, that's all I have to do. So I turn around so often, nothing worked. Seriously? Okay? So that's why you notice over the last 17 years, I don't use the word turn around. It bothered me. I work my butt off every night, and I come to this after working, meditating all day. At the end of the day, I listen to my YongHua Dharma talk, Chinese instruction talk. So you turn around, you become enlightened. I said, I turn around right away. Didn't do anything. It's just like, the Chinese, it makes sense that the Chinese-speaking people help me understand this. How do you turn around and become enlightened? Because I'm a Western educated person, I'm very literal. You want me to turn around? I turn around, you're the master. Help us out. Hey boy. Explain to us, how do you turn around? Nonsense. You turn around, look at the shore enlightenment. Please, I'm so confused. I cannot tell which way from which. North, south, up, down, 10 directions. I have no clues which way I'm looking at. To look for enlightenment. Turn around and you are enlightenment. Next. If you don't turn around, you're deluded. I turn around, I'm still deluded. Okay? And you turn around, you're the Buddha. You don't turn around, you're deluded. So you all turn around. Let me ask you, please all turn around. Hey boy, turn around. You're the same substance of all Buddhas. Did we go to this point or no? I don't think so. We did. Okay, when Buddha and so forth. Okay, find your own path and it should bring forth the resolve. Did we go up to this point? Next one. Tomorrow. Okay, fine. So far, so good? Okay. Now, you understand Master YongHua's teachings. Let me interpret it for you. Okay. The principles taught here are correct. The thought delusions, let me tell you why he taught. In the theory of Mahayana, if you want to reach, to open your wisdom, you need first, number one, okay? And this is I'm making it clear for you. Number one, you need to take care of your leisure, okay? What is that called? Thought delusion versus 事惑, 见惑, okay, view delusions, okay? You want to have the beginning of wisdom, you need to take care of your view delusions, okay? This will bring you to the first stage, arhatship, okay? The arhats, first stage arhats, are special people, contrary to us ordinary people, is that they're considered to have wisdom because they can be free from the 5 view delusions. Is that clear? And after that, you go into the thought delusions. Okay, so what Master YongHua is referring to, when you work on these 5 thought delusions, greed, anger, stupidity, arrogance, and doubt, then you are able to reach 2nd stage arhat, 3rd stage arhat, or 4th stage arhat. Is that clear? Because the way he explained it, and this is my basis is the Buddhist teaching, not his. Okay, if you talk about the five thought delusions. Okay, how you deal with the 5 thought delusions, depending on how successful you are in dealing with the 5 thought delusions, you can reach the remaining stages. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th stage arhats. That's Buddhist teaching. Master YongHua failed to specify exactly what he's talking about. Was he referring to 2nd stage arhat, 3rd stage arhat, 4th stage arhat? At the time, his disciples, the people in the audience were not that advanced. Therefore, there's no point for him to go into that kind of details. Okay, it's understandable. But let me interpret for you because you are much more advanced than his students. Therefore, you need to know what he's talking about is actually the arhatship stages. It's not something he made up, pulled out from the air. Yes, Wei Mao.
Thank you, Master. I don't mean to interrupt you if you're going to explain, but I noticed there's 5 thought delusions and 4 stages of arhatship. Were you going to explain the correlation, as you progress?
If you believe in that thing called thought delusions that we've been discussing tonight extensively, you work on that, naturally you reach 2nd stage arhat, 3rd stage arhat, or 4th stage arhats. Okay? And you'll be guided through that. Okay? For example, for you personally, you in that range already. You say, me? Yeah, of course. Oh. You see, my point is that you don't need to know it. You only need to know how to get there. Now I'll explain to you. Okay? And then it'll be easier for you to understand later. Okay? So there is a difference between the philosophy, the principles, versus how to get there. Okay, remember the example? You have the principles on how how to design a TV set, but you still have to learn how to make it before it's useful to the world. Okay? There's a theory, there's actual implementation or execution. So what we're talking about right now is theory. The 5 thought delusions, actually, the reason that I'm addressing them for you because many of you are in that range already. That's all, okay? So I didn't even bother, we haven't talked about the view delusions. Those of you who, I said, you're first stage arhat, that means you have conquered that already. So you now have to go towards the thought delusions. Pay attention. That's all. Is that clear? See, so what I'm telling you is that the way you've been trained is that you're taught to do things, okay, without having to know too much. Because knowing too much makes you arrogant. Okay? Very easy to become arrogant because you know too much. Very easy. Talk to any Vietnamese Buddhists, Chinese Buddhists, scholars. They know so much. They know all these theories, but they don't understand how to get rid of the view delusions, how to get rid of the thought delusions. You can know all you want. This guy here has been with Master YongHua for 30, 40 years. He's a specialist he regurgitates everything Master YongHua talks about. Okay? But he doesn't know how to do it. Is that clear? This is the problem in Buddhism nowadays. People read too much, know too much, and they think they understand. No, they don't. You really understand, you have to do it. You must be able to do it. So for example, some of you like Peter and say, but I don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't matter if you know what I'm talking about or not. But if I tell you that when you are being afflicted, and I recognize what you afflicted, let's say at his level right now, okay? So let's say he's afflicted because so I said, look at his level as a teacher, look at his level and say, can I help you with your affliction, right? You know, it's unbearable to you because so many things in your head right now, you're too afflicted. But you know what? Your affliction is actually based on greed for money. And he said, oh, you know what? You're right, Master, and boom, affliction goes away. That's a proof that you are in second stage arhat. Do you understand how we help people? We let them be. But when the time comes, as a teacher, you look at them and you say, you know, I understand you're coming from, or don't get lost in the forest. Life is confusing, life is overwhelming, but you can rise above this right now. Let me show you how. You understand? That's our jobs. They get confused, but we cannot afford to get confused. We recognize, because that's why I tell you, your second stage, your third stage, because each stage means that you're able to overcome that particular affliction. That's why now you're able to do it. I teach you the principles behind it. The point is that you don't need the principles. Who cares about principles? Because I got confused about all this for years. First 3 years of my life, practicing on my own, Chanchi every single day. I studied so many books, so many principles. I turned around, facing east and west and turning in different directions. Nothing worked because I knew too much. So that's what differentiates Master YongHua from the other patriarchs, other monks and nuns, because he gave us instructions on how to cross our legs, what to do. And those instructions are instrumental in helping us break through all these things. Okay? But he still has some places, like I told you, cut it off. Okay? It bothered the heck out of me. Cut it off. Cut off your stupidity. Cut off your hatred. Cut off your arrogance. Cut off your mind of doubt. I said, but I cannot cut it off. I am arrogant. I am stupid. How am I going to cut it off? And then he says, turn the other way, turn around, and you become enlightened. And they all talk like this. All the monks talk like this. Just turn the other way to the shore of enlightenment. Turn away from affliction. Turn away from suffering. I am suffering. I turn away, I'm still suffer. Yes, too.
So Master, are you saying that it's okay to say cut off your mind of greedy if as you describe the process at the right time, you ask someone to, this is your affliction, you drop it. At that moment, what you're doing is tell them to cut it off, right?
Yes, they can.
So it's not like, so the way of describe...
Because we know they can, that's what you tell them. We don't tell them to cut them off before. Like, I cannot tell your mother to cut off your hatred. What are you talking about?
Okay, so having
so
that...
This is the difference, is that when she can't do it, we won't tell her because she only gets frustrated. Okay? That's why you only give instructions when it's time to help them. Until then, you shut up. You can't do it, you say it, you lose credibility. You can't. You have to wait. Yes.
I think I'm kind of like trying to think from the perspective of Master YongHua or the Chinese who speak this way. I mean, if you talk about this Dharma in general, then you have to say it this way, right? Because you're not talking to a specific person at a specific time. This is just, they just describe the general.
That's correct. It is correct to say it this way. I'm telling you I have a better way. That is not to talk about it. Because it happened to me. I'm not Chinese. It didn't help me. I can tell you, it doesn't help the Chinese nowadays either. We all are spoiled, influenced by Western education. We expect clarity. You want me to cut it off? Tell me what knife to use. Is it a knife? Is it a serrated knife? Is it a cleaver, a butcher knife? You have to tell me clearly, because I expect it from you. You want to be my teacher, you better be clear with me. You lose credibility with me. This is what happened to his disciples. They tried to tell me to do things, and they gave me way vague instructions. And I asked, what do you mean by that? They said, don't ask. And you cannot impress young people nowadays. They need precision. We demand precision. If not, shut up. All right? Anything else? All right. Now, see, we still have a little time left, okay? Don't try to ask questions now. Okay? We can discuss this after I'm done, okay? I stay here as long as you want. Until 10 o'clock to midnight, I don't care. I'm here, I live here. Okay? I'm warning you. Okay? You're free to ask, but let me finish first. Okay? Because you may not agree with me. You remember I started telling you that this view delusion will help you, we teach you through our training to help you get through first stage arhat. You know, this one here is first stage arhat, and she doesn't even know how she got there. Huh? Just like that. They say, oh, you're first stage arhat. Because it's a reminder, you have view delusion, you can cut it off immediately. You are now capable of cutting it off. Before, you cannot. So before, no point talking to you about it. But the point is that you can get there without knowing this much, all this cut it off, turning it all around, get ashore, enlightenment, you know, get away from suffering. It's too much, too confusing. Promises. Okay? And so, what he talked about is actually not worldly enlightenment. Actually, it's called enlightenment in Buddhism, from my perspective. If you cut off your view delusion, your first stage arhat, you're considered a sage in Hinayana. So it's hardly worldly enlightenment. Okay? I disagree with him. Number two, you go higher. Your next target is thought delusions. Okay? You cut off this greed. This is an order. Greed, anger, stupidity, arrogance, and doubt. Memorize it. Okay? When you do that, okay, then you begin to climb up second, third, and fourth. So for example, I recognize someone in the fourth, okay? I don't say anything, okay? But then other people are telling me, she says, you know, nowadays, he's not as afflicted anymore. Nowadays, he can drop things that quickly. I say, yeah, of course, he's a fourth stage arhat. Okay? So that's hardly worldly enlightenment. That is transcendental enlightenment. I disagree with Master Shenron respectfully. That is a big deal. You cannot call it worldly enlightenment. I go back to worldly enlightenment later. It's not worldly enlightenment at all. Okay? If you figure out how to design, come up with a better battery for the EVs nowadays, okay? It could be called worldly enlightenment. If you come up with a new theorem in mathematics and physics and so forth, it could be worldly enlightenment because you are able to see things that normal people cannot. That can be called worldly enlightenment, but not this. This is transcendental enlightenment. So I respectfully disagree with him. I don't know why he called it worldly enlightenment, because according to Buddhist principles, it's not. And unfortunately for me, he's dead already. I could not ask him. I could have asked him, Master, I'm sorry, but this is how I understood. Please correct me. Okay? So now I have to say it publicly. I disagree. Okay? It's not worldly enlightenment. This is transcendental enlightenment, because you have wisdom, meaning that you are not as afflicted by worldly things anymore. So far, so good. Okay? And I talk about this because you're there. You are no ordinary people. When I say you fourth stage arhat, because I know you can drop it just like that. That's when the fun begins. Huh? When someone gives you 8 acres of land at $1.5 million, and you like it so much, and I want you to understand this principle, this story here, because it bothers me. And you got, in San Jose, 1 acre is about $5 million. That's it, okay? And you're given this thing 8 acres for $1.5 million. And they just say, please take it. And you say, no, that is greed. That kills me. I want you to know, if you're a fourth stage arhat, I would take it and I drop it by giving it to me. That's enlightenment. Don't think enlightened people are stupid. Because you fourth stage arhat and people give you that thing and you say, no, I'm too greedy, I'm too greedy, I'm too greedy. You're no longer greedy, stupid idiot. Be greedy temporarily and then cut it off. That's a middle way. You understand? The Hinayana, they say, no, that's greedy. No, don't give it to me. No, and you run away. For us, Mahayana, we take it and we give the master. Idiot. You understand? That's wisdom. Agree? There's nothing wise about not taking it. So annoying. Okay? You see how beautiful it is? Yeah. It's wisdom because you can turn it on and off just like that, depending on the conditions. You don't know how to turn it on and off, you're stupid. So you're stupid now, you learn to get there, and then we teach you how to turn it on and off. Now you can turn it on and off. Is it clear? Okay. And so my first disagreement with Master YongHua is that it's not worldly awakening. It's transcendental awakening. What he's describing. Okay? Because if it were worldly, you cannot drop the 1.5 million 8-acre property. I'm very afflicted. Okay? You got that? There's no wisdom in there at all. God! Okay, now, so that is to tell you that I feel this teaching here, the way he's interpreted the 6-page tract teaching is off. I disagree with him. Okay, what the 6-page chart taught was that enlightenment, wisdom, okay, is not apart from the world, meaning that wisdom can be developed while you're in the world, meaning that you don't leave the world, you still get enlightened. That's how I interpret the Chinese. Okay. Can you find the Chinese gatha again? Those 2 lines. Enlightenment is not apart from the world. Okay? Okay? See? The Buddha Dharma is to help you become enlightened. It's in the world. And you don't need to leave the world to become enlightened. That's what the Master 6-page chart is teaching. Master YongHua combined it wrong. He went Shu Qian Jue, like this, which is a wrong interpretation. Okay. Number 2, my interpretation includes his. Okay. Let me explain to you. The reason that Master Huineng explained it this way is because he says, you don't necessarily need to run away from the world to become enlightened. And I will clarify for you, if you know how to you become enlightened in the world a lot faster than running away. That's one consequence of this teaching. He says, you can run away from the world. Yes. It's proven in the Chinese, by the Vietnamese, by the Sri Lankans, and so forth. They ran away in the forest. The Thai people, they ran away in the forest, became four-stage arhat after 20, 30 years. Okay? That's proven. That's in the history. But according to Master Huineng's teaching here, he says, if you didn't run away from the world, you can still become enlightened. And I'm adding for you. You still become enlightened, and you will become enlightened faster. That's why we prefer not to have temples in the wilderness. We want temples in the cities where there are museums and pizzas and so forth. Why? Because if you're in the world, you're outside there, you're not tempted by pizzas, are you? You're not tempted by what have you, banh mi, whatever. Okay, pad thai or yellow noodles, soup, whatever, okay? You're not tempted. So yes, you can get there, but the temptation are still dormant. You understand that? When you come back, you say, oh, I don't know how I could have survived for 20, 30 years without wonton noodle soup. Now you gorge yourself and you become fat. Okay? You see, you're not solving the problem. If you're in the world, I tempt you with yellow noodle soup, wonton soup, and let you gorge up. And then next day I say, today I went to have some food with my disciple. And she ate like a pig. And guess what? You remember forever. You say, wonton noodle soup, I will not be greedy anymore. It's much faster. You face it. Because I'm helping you identify your greed for food right away. Instead of something like turning around somewhere, you turn around. I turn around, I face tangerines. I face this. It's even more confusing. You understand? So our style of training is different from theirs, from the Chinese. Okay? It's more in line with what Master Huineng is teaching. We don't run away from the world. We face our problems. It really bothers you day and night. You look at it until you drop it. You don't run away. Is it clear? You endure it. Okay? So that's why we don't run away from the world in order to reach enlightenment. That's what you've been doing. All right? Now, it doesn't stop there though. After you become enlightened, when we tell you this, we also tell you, hey, listen, you're getting enlightenment in order to be of service to society. Not get enlightened for yourself. If you want to get enlightened for yourself, go to the forest. You don't need me. But you're here because you are getting trained in order to serve society, to serve the Buddhas. Meaning that you need to help more people open their wisdom and end their suffering. That's the meaning of our lives. It's not about gorging ourselves. It's not about serving ourselves and be happy just for ourselves or our family. It's about have a bigger heart. Okay? It's not about talking about, I am kindness and I am compassion. Okay? You have to live it. You have to act it. You don't talk about it. If you're compassionate, then what are you doing? You're not helping others. Then there's no compassion in you. You talk about compassion alone, okay? But you only talk. You talk compassion, we talk compassion, and by the way, I need, my roof needs to be fixed. Could you give me some money? And if I get money from you, then you have less money to feed your family. Is that compassion? Huh? So I'm a monk, therefore I'm entitled to have my roof fixed before you feed your family? What kind of nonsense is that? Is that compassion? You have to ask yourself. I'm Lambulit. I wash my hands every night. And look at that face. You remember that photo? He's not happy, let me tell you. You see a happy man in that last photo there? That's the last scene on the movie, by the way. He looked at himself. Hardened. No compassion whatsoever. I'm serving society, but I'm killing people. Okay? And that look is because he just lost a girlfriend. Even my woman left me. Okay? It's one of the great movies, by the way. It's a classic. Anyway, and so you are trained through these together, all of you who have a track record of bringing you to all these levels of enlightenment, okay? But you still around, instead of you jumping off and have your own temples and your own territory, you stick around because you're suffering more and you're receiving more training in order to serve more people. That's what's happening, okay? And that's why you're building on your enlightenment. You're getting deeper and higher and higher and higher, okay? Now, you don't have to leave the world to become enlightened. Okay? How does it include Master Shenhua's teaching about worldly awakening? Okay? Once you have wisdom, once your actions are not driven by self-interest, okay? Then you truly are an asset to society. Agree? It's debatable right now for you because whatever you do is that, it's me, 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 me. But when you have wisdom, then you can drop the me for the sake of others. Now you can talk about compassion because your compassion until then is actually compassion for me, not compassion for anyone else. Until you have true wisdom, the kindness and compassion you talked about is only self-kindness and self-compassion. It's not for others. So yes, I hear people monks talk about, I'm teaching you about kindness and compassion. I look at the monk first, oh yeah, you're talking about your own kindness for you and compassion for you, because I need to give you money to fix your roof. I need to give you money to buy you clothes. I need you money to buy statues for yourself, for your temples. Well, I get nothing. I need to go to the bank and take out a loan for that. And I get nothing except a loan to the bank I need to pay off. That's not compassion. Okay? It's easy to talk about it, but you have to ask yourself at the end of the day, did I have compassion? Was I kind? Okay? When you have wisdom, and at the end of the day you say, okay, I was okay. 20% of the time I was compassionate. Okay, that 20% of the time there, you are a real asset to the world. Okay, so When you are in that state of mind, whatever you touch is so good for the world. Okay? That is called, you are able to bring worldly wisdom to next level. Worldly wisdom is better served. It's called worldly wisdom because it's a wisdom to serve the world, to better serve the world. So we, after we become enlightened, we need to go back to the world and advance the worldly knowledge and the worldly wisdom. That's how we contribute. Not necessarily making more money, invading Mexico. If Putin invades Ukraine, why don't we invade Mexico? If China is perfectly okay for China to think of taking over Taiwan, and we might as well take over Mexico. There's no Spanish-speaking people here. It's safe tonight. Hola! You understand? Because it's not self-serving. When you are no longer driven by self-interest, okay, you are using your wisdom to solve the worldly problems, the world problems, and that's how you advance worldly knowledge. That's why it's called worldly awakening. For example, the Chinese, the Bodhisattvas went to China to become Chinese, and they invented something called I Ching. That's worldly awakening. It's not transcendental awakening. It's worldly awakening. Su Wei is not a worldly awakening. Huh? All those are actually advancements of human knowledge in a way that the humans cannot comprehend until they become enlightened. That's the worldly awakening we're talking about. Not small stuff. Is that clear? Point number 3. So I just made you 2 points. Number 1, okay, I disagree with him because what he talked about is actually transcendental wisdom. Number 2, okay, the approach we have will bring you, the objective is, yes, worldly wisdom. That's how we make a difference. Okay? Our followers, I'm addressing Sanghans now, our followers are investing in us so that we can help them, help their children, and their great-grandchildren, and so forth. This is how we repay them. Not to build this big temple and, pick their pockets so that we can build bigger temples and become more famous. It doesn't necessarily serve their children, great-grandchildren that well. Invent something that's more beneficial. Yes? Train them so that they have wisdom, so that they can know happiness and end the suffering. All right? That's point number 2. Okay? Enlightenment here is not apart from the world. We enlighten because we are one. We never forget the fact that we become enlightened. We seek this enlightenment, this wisdom, in order to better serve the world, make the world a better place to live for everyone and for future generations. Number 3 is that there's an order. Number 3 is very important. If you go for worldly knowledge immediately, it makes you arrogant. it's extremely difficult to overcome. Because every day you have this diploma on your wall there. Your wife talks about it. My husband, you know, he has a doctorate from, well, he's a Jewish doctor in law from Yale University. And he works for this big law firm. He's a partner in a big law firm. It's very difficult for you not to be arrogant because you are better than the rest of us. How on earth are you going to be able to become enlightened? How many emperors in the history of China were enlightened after they became emperors? Very few. Maybe one or two. Okay? That's why it's so difficult to find worldly success before you open your wisdom. In Buddhism, monks and nuns, we make them beggars so that they cannot be arrogant. We address the arrogance immediately. Beat up on them, they think they're better. Okay? And the order matters because you should seek transcendental wisdom first because you get there faster that way, and then continue to deepen your transcendental wisdom by developing worldly wisdom. So the order matters. Once you become successful in life, it's very difficult for you to open wisdom. Very difficult. You don't listen anymore. You always look at me and say, you're a beggar. You have no credentials. You still need me to pay for your utility bills and your mortgage. I'm better than you. I mean, you better than me. That's true. You see that? It's very difficult for you to open wisdom because the ego gets bigger and grows bigger and bigger and bigger. That's why you don't want to get worldly enlightenment first. You want to seek transcendental enlightenment, then get worldly enlightenment. So Master YongHua explanation is misleading. It's a wrong order. So he made it sound like it's okay to seek the worldly enlightenment first and then go for transcendental enlightenment. I don't know of many successful examples. There are a few, but they are not how you develop people. Okay, questions? Comments? Okay, no? Okay, we stop it tonight. Thank you so much.